And welcome to the 5th edition of the North Florida Blitz for September 10th, 2024. Marty Pallman with Joshua Wilson, Florida HS football. It's 8:31 in the Eastern time zone, 7:31 in the Central time zone. I'm excited. I'm going to do that from now on since we're in
time check brought to you by Marty Pallman.
We're in 2 time zones on the North Florida Blitz, of course, as we carry from Ocala all the way up to Jacksonville, out to Tallahassee, and all the way to Pensacola and the Florida-Alabama border. So yeah, if you're watching us in the Central Times, it's only 7:30. But good evening, North Florida Blitz, and Josh. Already week 3 in the books.
Yes,
for high
indeed.
School football, and some interesting results. Northeast Florida, especially St. Johns County. The weather affected the games last week. We'll talk about that in a moment. The blitz lines, we're going
to do double blitz lines tonight.
Oh, that's right, we are. But it's some interesting results. And just to highlight one, Hawthorne finally loses a game,
and we'll talk more about that here in the blitz lines tonight.
But we'll also have our fan comments, fan question of the week, our pick 6 coming up later in the show. And right now, we'll start with Blitz line number 1, part 1, recapping week 3. Where's that music? There you go. Tonight, I'm ahead of the music. Or actually, last night I was ahead of the music, too, behind it today. But we start in the Panhandle. Tate, how about the Aggies? 3-0 to start the season. Strong start has them in district title contention.
Yes, indeed. And you know what, Tate? Hey, Tate, once a proud program, has been kind of, up and down here at times. But now it seems like the Aggies might just be turning the corner and might be they were 5-5 last year. Let's not get that wrong. But the Aggies might actually be putting themselves in terms of the playoff hunt and for a district title. But we have seen, and I will tell you this, we have seen strong starts from teams before in the past. And we have seen teams go let down in the second half of the season. So we have to watch out for that second down letdowns from teams that start off hot.
Yeah, we do. I mean, you're right. And Tate right now receiving votes in the 6A poll, the media poll for Florida HS football. And they beat Pensacola 27-22 last week. Pensacola, by the way, who had broken a long losing streak the week before. But Tate, as you said, good start for them, 3-0. They've had some really good teams through the years, been down a little bit. Cantonment, Tate.
Cantonment.
Didn't it used to be different?
They used to go by the area because there's Gonzales and there's Cantonment, so they're right next door to each other, basically.
I remember it used to be known as Gonzales Tate, but
but the address is Cantonment,
right? So there you go. But in the Pensacola area, they're Cantonment. But all right, so Tate 3-0. Meanwhile, another team. This is surprising, maybe. Niceville unbeaten still. And congratulations again to Niceville. They have no problem beating Pine Forest 36-14. They're 3-0. They're ranked 3rd in 5A, and they've already beaten South Sumter this season. So another good start for Niceville.
No, absolutely. And the Eagles are moving right along. And you know what? I mean, it seems like they're going to be pretty much they're going to be in line for a district title and probably a deep playoff run the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, really. I think so as well. And they usually are. Niceville's usually a team they can, they played for the state title a few times. They've won it before. They usually get to maybe the second, third round, the postseason at least, maybe the state semis. But yeah, again, Niceville, a team over there in the Panhandle we talk about, always pretty solid, and they are 3-0 to start as well. Meanwhile, another 3-0 team. This is the team that.
Hey, someone asked us to talk about them, and we're going to talk about them this week. Hello, Mosley.
The Dolphins, not the Miami Dolphins, the Mosley Dolphins. They are 3-0, no problem with Rickards.
Yes,
and they get the win there over the Rickards Raiders. So.
Yeah, and I believe I've got it right here printed out in the printouts like you do, Marty. And Mosley sitting there, they're
35-7 over Rickards.
Yeah, and they're Class 5A. And I want to bring this up because our friend Nully, who's been watching every show, we love it. Nully and his Mark Cannon. We got some neighborhood. We got some regular fan favorites around here that like to watch the shows, and we're glad we do. And 5A is going to be fun in the postseason. I agree.
Let's review the top 7 right now in 5A. Lakeland number 1, St. Thomas Aquinas 2, Niceville 3, Blanche Ely 4, Tampa Bay Tech, Manatee, and Edgewater. Not bad. Top 7.
And that was from last week, by the way. So the new rankings will come out tomorrow. And
last week, but yeah, you've got teams. Fort Myers 3-0, Springstead. Those teams are all unbeaten. Mosley's considered they'll probably be moving up. So yeah, it's going to be 5A is going to be a lot of fun. Hey, I see Middleburg there as well. We'll see what they do. But
Niceville at Mosley, October 11th should be for the district championship. And yes,
it
was last year, and that was that came down to the very last minute.
Mosley pulled one of the bigger upsets in a while and ended up district champs. And they knocked off Niceville a year ago. So Niceville definitely will be looking for revenge in that game. But we'll see. Both teams are unbeaten heading into that game as well. All right, we move on from Mosley, the Dolphins. We're heading east, further east now, over to Madison County. And the Cowboys of Madison County, they are able to bounce back from a loss the week before. They beat DeLand week 1. Who was it week 2? I already forgot who they lost to. But they win week 3 against Swanee.
They lost to Lincoln week 2.
That's right. Lincoln's really playing well. But they come back to beat Swanee this week, 43-26. They will travel to Columbia, Lake City here this Friday night. So,
yes, and we'll have some more comments with the thing. If you got a comment, question, just pop that into the chat where you're watching us, Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube. At YouTube, hit that subscribe button at Florida HS Football, and of course, you got the FloridaHSFootball.com app that you can scan and download too. So,
David has a comment there about Mosley. David Kozowski, offensive lineman Rickard's 4-star defensive end is committed to Florida, non-factor Thursday night. Well, that would explain the 35-7 win. So.
When you make a play, an athlete non-factor who is usually a factor, that says something about what Mosley is doing and what head coach Tommy Joe Wooden is doing.
That's right. But Madison County, we mentioned they'll play Columbia after beating Swanee. Meanwhile,
I like to talk about this team that we're coming up here.
The Big Bend, Taylor County Bulldogs. I mean, this is a team that's won state titles. They've had a good history. It's been some down years for them, but yeah, they're 3-0 to start. And boy, the scores surprised me. 37-0 over what's usually a pretty good Dixie County team.
I mean, and that's a rivalry game, by the way, because they're border counties.
Taylor and Dixie are border counties. So, but hey Bulldogs, we see you at 3-0. You're a good start for Taylor County. They are now in Class 2A,
and we have another set of Bulldogs we would like to talk about, and that is the Mariana Bulldogs.
Yeah, our friend Philip Crutchfield like this as Mariana, Jackson County, they have no problems with McClay. 39-7. Mariana stays unbeaten with that victory. So congratulations there. Good start for Mariana as well.
Yes, and we're gonna approach it. We do want to warn you that we're gonna have a little bit of talk of what's happened here coming up here. As you see it's coming up here on the rundown. So
Mariana in 2A, yeah, they're still to be considered, but yeah, off to a 3-0 start. Yeah, right. And we don't have no guest tonight or interview, so we will be doing a lot of topics. So, and also be sure to come up with your comments as well. Looks like we have another comment from David Myers about Madison County. Madco will be firing on all cylinders once JJ McDaniel was back. And I always like that name, Madco, Madison County. But
you got Hamilton County that's called Hamco.
Yes.
Madison Madco.
And you got AAMCO, which is Amco. So totally different thing. But that's for your car, though. That's not a county. So Mariana, 3-0 again, as we said. Meanwhile, Wakulla coming back.
17-14 against Childs.
Yeah, a good win for Wakulla. They had already suffered a loss.
And they suffered a loss to Taylor County, and that's where they ended up dropping down in the 3A rankings. They ended up dropping into the receiving votes category.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Usually Wakulla is usually among the top 10 most of the time in their classification, but that loss to Taylor County kind of stunned a lot of people.
Yeah, that really got the attention, I think, of a lot of folks. So Taylor County may be back. That was a big win over Wakulla, but they do get back on the winning track. They're 2-1 now, are the Wakulla War Eagles, as they get the win, a close win against the Childs team there on Tallahassee. Meanwhile, this is a story, unfortunately, a sad story to report and out of the Panhandle.
Port St. Joe. I mean, this one. This is where this is where we've been trying to how to weave this in appropriately and properly to the memory of Chance Gaynor, who unfortunately passed away during the game Friday night against Liberty County, and that it's something that. Our good friend Christopher Like, who he one time owned TexasHSFootball.com out in Texas, but he compared it to a similar situation that happened in 2012. That it really upset him, and because it's a similar situation where a player at West Orange Stark, what I think is the name of the school out in Texas, and it's like a similar situation. Player collapses and dies on the field, unfortunately, and it's sad. And we do know that there is. I have seen it. I don't have the link, but they did do a GoFundMe for the family, and it's that they goal I believe was $75,000, Marty, and they have raised almost 70,000 of the 75,000. It's not just to help cover the funeral expenses; it's just to help the family out. And a lot of people around the Sunshine State and across the nation have rallied around the Port St. Joe community, and their game this week against Blountstown has been postponed. That was already made, official Friday night after the game. Blountstown, no issue there. They're in all these towns right around there: Port St. Joe, Blountstown, Bristol. These towns, these small rural towns that are a part of this move between the Big Bend area and into the Emerald Coast. Right. These one of these small towns are just all putting in. They're sending support resources. There's so many different things in there, and honestly, it's definitely we're gonna see how Port St. Joe handles this. We're gonna watch that and see. But I know this week the game has been postponed against Blountstown, and that's a big game for those two teams usually in most years. But right now football comes second. It's about Port St. Joe. It's about the family of Chance Gainer and Appalachia.
That as you said, they were playing Liberty County in Bristol, and as you said, it was during the game, like halftime or first half? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure when it happened because
did they call the game after that?
I believe they did call the game from what I'm understanding. Okay. I know that Scott Rosman. Let me pull this up here because it's kind of from Scott Rosman. Let me make sure. Yeah, Scott Rosman of WJHG TV. There in Panama City, he had to say this. It said, reporting on Chance Gainer just maybe the saddest thing I've had to do in a long career covering sports here at WJHG. He's been there in Panama City for eons. I mean, we're talking decades here for Scott Rosman, and his heartaches for his family. Coach Tanner Jones is the head coach there at Port St. Joe. Jim Norton, who's the superintendent, and the extended PSJ community. He said, I feel their grief, and we will be praying for them and all. And I can tell you that the number, all the support, all the comments, and John Cooper, they did complete the game okay, and that's I'm glad that they did, and he said the Gator family is amazing people, and he did this is I believe is LLCG number 2, which is
Chance,
which is something that they're using right now, and it's sad because this isn't the first athlete that a school has lost this year already in the season, and we're just three going in 4 weeks in. And we had Palaka.
Yeah, Palaka player in practice, like the first or second week, went home and died in his sleep. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible when anyone dies in that way, but you're talking 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. I mean, it's hard to fathom at times, but that's I don't know. It's tough to talk about, and I can understand you mentioned the guy there from Panama City reporting on it. I'm sure it's a tough story to cover, but I mean, we talk football, we talk a lot of football, and sometimes things are much more important than that, and that is in this case as well.
John Cooper, he's the head coach there at Franklin County, so another county right next door to Gulf County, and it's it really is. It's hard to it just as a thing you'd never want to see happen to anybody, and this is just it really it's but they're these small town teams, they there's a lot that they do and when something whether it's good or sad, whatever it may be, these towns rally around their teams, they rally around their schools, but it's been more than just Port St. Joe people. It's been Panhandle. It's been the entire state of Florida. They have rallied around Port St. Joe, and
so our obviously condolences go to the Port St. Joe family there, football as well, and everyone really in that area who knew Chance Gainer. And We will take our first water break now.
And we're gonna, instead of playing the music for our normal water break, we're just gonna take 2 minutes of silence in honor of Chance and of what, the contributions of what he did for the Port St. Joe Tiger Sharks football team. We're just gonna throw up our banner, and we're just gonna take it as 2 minutes of silence here for honor of Chance Gator and for the Port St. Joe community and for his family. And we definitely our condolences and our thoughts and prayers are with the family and the entire Port St. Joe community. We'll be right back after 2 minutes here on the North Florida Blitz here on FloorHSFootball.com.
All right, welcome back to the North Florida Blitz. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson with you, and we are going to move along now with part 2 of the Blitz lines. We got 2 of those this week, and we will start as we head into now North Central Florida. We were in the Panhandle already, but we start with the top story, again, what we mentioned earlier. Hawthorne loses their first game. It was exactly 1,000 days. It's hard to believe that we're doing that with Hawthorne, that 2-time to finish.
But but here we are. It's 1,000 days.
Yeah, I mean,
it was one. And we literally was on the field. We found out, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, okay, we were asking between myself and Noah Ram. It was like, how many days has it been? And I asked her, he's like, what is it? How many days has it been since it was when they won last day? It was and when they lost the 2021 state championship to
Madison County.
13-12.
Yeah, that was their last.
And it was, and when it said it come up 1,000 days, we thought we was kidding, but it really isn't. It was a 1,000 days exactly on the point. I mean, who would have planned that? I don't know.
Their last regular season loss was 1,400 days ago, 1,407. Their last regular season loss was 2020, and that came at Zephyr Hills.
Yes. 2 weeks before the postseason, I believe.
And this time they just got past Newberry. We talked about it last week in overtime. This time they hit the road to Florida High, who was 0-2 coming in. But Florida High gets the win, 41-27 in Tallahassee. So the Hornets now are on a losing streak. It's hard to believe. It's been a while.
And that Hawthorne loss gives Florida High their first win.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, the Seminoles are now 1-2, and that's a tough loss for Hawthorne. But again, you got to lose at some point. The thing about it was, I was talking to Mike Rideout about this. It was a 27-game win streak overall, and then he was mentioning that Union County won 52 in a row during that run in the 90s. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, it seemed like it was hard.
Only to be broken by Lakeland later on.
That's right. It seemed hard to believe Hawthorne wasn't barely halfway there. It seemed like, it was hard enough getting to that point. But those teams in the 90s, that was those Robbie Pruitt teams. Union County won 3 straight state titles. But Yeah, it was in Lakeland and eventually into that run. But,
Yeah.
you know,
as they say, all good things must come to an end.
and it doesn't mean Hawthorne can't win, you know, the third in a row. It very much could be. But what?
Oh, we have a question.
I love it how now we have one loss. Yeah, David Bazay. And what's Hawthorne's problem? What's wrong with them? Well, I mean,
they did graduate some seniors. They did graduate some players that went Division One.
They did lose a lot of players, but I think the key, and I don't know if
you don't have CJ Ingram either.
Yeah, but I think Adrian Curtis is doing a pretty good job filling in, coming from East Side. It sounds to me like the defense isn't quite what it's been, and they lost a lot on defense. They did, but you know, some of it is just at some point. I mean, you're going to lose a game or so. We'll see if they get it, turn it around. I mean, it's a long season. They could still win the 1A or the rural title. Pardon me, I'm saying 1A. But I think Madison County will be there again.
That's what happens when we know it for so long as 1A or 1R, and then all of a sudden it's it doesn't have an A. It's rural.
Yeah, it changes every year. But it's like I do like it how they lose one game in 4 years, and what's their problem? What's happening to them? They're going downhill. But yeah,
and you know what?
It's a legitimate question.
In here, and honestly, I don't think this is the first. I don't think this is going to be the only game they lose this year. They got a pretty good Oakleaf team coming in this week.
Oh, that's true.
Not on our picks.
That's true. We didn't put that in there. Yeah, Oakleaf's pretty good. That's a 6A school too, and yeah, that will be a tough one. I agree, and that's at Hawthorne, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but
Annie Mae Phillips Stadium.
Annie Mae Phillips. We'll see if being home helps the Hornets, but yeah, I mean, it could be 2 in a row with the way Oakleaf's been playing. But yeah, Hawthorne takes a loss for the first time in 1,000 days to the Hornets, and they will get back in action against Oakleaf this week. On the other side in Gainesville area, Buchholz, well, it starts slow again, and you were at this game.
Yes,
Josh.
I was.
14-7 at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah,
the east side.
It was 7-0 at half. Buchholz, and I mean, there was no scoring between. There was no scoring from the. Okay, Buchholz, the first drive went down the field, put 7 on the board. After that, it was just a battle of defenses. I mean, Eastside defense was really good. They were really stout. They I mean, there was 2 fourth down conversions that Buchholz attempted, and they stopped them both. So 2 turnovers on downs for the Bobcats, and that was a bit of a struggle there. Watching Buchholz, I'm like, oh boy, let's see. I mean, considering that we already know that Eastside, their offense, they have had, they lost Adrian Curtis obviously to Hawthorne, so. But watching here, the defense the defense was there for majority of the game, about three and a quarter of the quarters. But after that, once it hit the fourth quarter, it just seemed like Buchholz finally put the foot on the gas pedal and wore down the Rams defense. And honestly, it's like you when your defense is out there more than your offense, eventually you're going to get gassed. And that's what kind of happened here. It just finally caught up to them.
What we're seeing early in this year for Buchholz is it seems like it's a team that defensively is just really playing well. The offense has been a little bit behind. I mean, they pretty much shut down Vanguard week 1. They went to Vero Beach.
Trace Johnson, but he doesn't have the couple of the playmakers he had last year. They graduated, so he's having to figure out a couple different pieces here. Trace Johnson's only a junior here, so he's playing a sophomore last year, but he had a couple of D1 guys sitting around him. But now
they don't have that this year. But I mean, they've got talent. But you're right, Mark Whittemore's team is a little different than it was with Chuck Bell last year. By the way, speaking of that, Buchholz, even though they played Eastside, officially it was an Eastside home game, even though it was a neutral site. So they don't. And this week they were supposed to play Manatee
at Citizens Field.
Now it's been moved to Santa Fe High School because Coach Whittemore apparently did not like the way the field looked.
At first I thought the field looked okay, but as I walked the field Friday night and started looking at it, that resodding did nothing. That resodding actually is, I'll be honest with you, and I don't care who
resodded it. Wow.
They resodded it, and that's why nobody played the spring game there. And honestly, the resodding, in my opinion, at this point, why are we just keep putting grass down when we know that you got 3 high school teams here? If Tallahassee can put field turf down or AstroTurf or whatever you want to call it, they can put an artificial playing surface down. Right. Why in the heck is it a problem here that we can't do that here in Alachua County? Well, and I'm going to call Alachua County out because they need to invest more and better for the kids here.
If you don't live here, we're in Gainesville, Alachua County, and Josh and I went to a meeting a summer ago about basically replacing Citizens Field or renovating it, and it needs to happen. But the city of Gainesville, the school board of Alachua County just doesn't come to any agreement. School board can't seem to get any.
And the lease expires after the school year, by the way.
And they have to have, to me, they should have already put field turf down. You're right. You got 3 teams playing there. The field gets ruined early on, especially
stadium's old. The stadium's like 40, 50 years old.
They got to do something about it, or you're right. They're going to have teams. I don't know if Buchholz is going to play there until they do it. It almost sounds like they're not going to play there.
I mean, it seems like Whittemore is taking a stance here, and it's like, hey, I'd rather go play at Santa Fe. I'll play my home games at Santa Fe, when it's available.
And Santa Fe is a newer stadium. It's pretty good size. I mean, I get it when Santa Fe is on the road. And the thing about it is, too,
we will keep that comment.
Yeah, we're not going to say that. And I don't disagree with the comment completely, but I'm not going to put that up there. But the and it's interesting because I guess Buchholz had the choice because Gainesville was supposed to play Lecanto.
Well, this would have been Buchholz's first technical home game at Citizens Field, but
they switched and sent GHS over to Citizens. They'll play Lecanto at Citizens Field. Eastside plays Thursday night against Trinity Catholic. Again, I don't know. They got to do something about this in this county. It just seems like it's not going to get any better. But as far as football is concerned, Buchholz, big game with Manatee this week. Manatee coming in off a loss to Lowndes County in Georgia. And they'll play Friday night at Santa Fe High.
Right. And at one point I heard talk that, eventually the idea may have been maybe, all right, let's go ahead and get a there was a push at Buchholz. Let's go ahead and build a stadium there at Buchholz. Let's put a stadium in. They've got what's technically a practice field now. They could put field turf in, put that in. You could use it both as practice and a stadium. Put the seats in. Same thing could go over at East Side. They've got the space to do it. Put a stadium. Actually, they have some bleachers. They have a little small stadium there that they could do that. Put field turf in and do that. But the other school is okay. The other city school in Gainesville it's Gainesville High School, and honestly. Okay, we know that GHS, there's no room there for a stadium, so that would leave Citizens Field for GHS use. But now it seems like that all that's gone, has kind of petered out here, died down. And honestly, there is a site here in Gainesville, and I'm gonna go on the soapbox for a minute here because I think we got a moment here to do this.
Yes.
Honestly, there is the Copper Superfund site that's off Northwest 23rd Avenue and Main Street.
Now this is correct. What?
Yeah. Yes. And the Copper Superfund site has over 140 acres. All right. They had talked about putting the Alachua Sports and Events Center that ended up at Celebration Point there.
Yeah.
This is a site that, it's a Superfund site. It does need to be cleaned up because it is polluted, but you've got 140 acres there that could be converted into use, not just for the community, but for these 3 schools. If the city of Gainesville, Alachua County and the school district of Alachua County, if they all 3 entities come together and put a new high school football stadium up there in that site with plenty of parking, and there's a traffic light there already, and it's a 4-lane road. Okay, there's no if they would take that site and make it worth it, the advantage, in the way lighting I know there's neighborhoods that surround that, but the way stadium lighting is done now these days. It's so much better. I mean, you're not going to impact the neighborhood as much as what you used to be with these older lights.
Right. Well, and
there's no in Alachua Prep. I'm going to bring this up. He is right. There is no excuses here because the field on Friday night, I thought it looked okay. It didn't flood, but as I further walked the field with other people, we started noticing where the issues were, and that to me is a problem.
Well, we may need to have a special show about this at some point because you and I live here and we know a lot about it. But I put up what Alachua Prep says here because this is true. There is no room at Gainesville High.
Yes, he is. They're right.
That's true. East Side, not a lot of room there. Some in the back. Buchholz has a field, but I don't know. Anyway, right now that's not going to solve the problem. But anyway, that's another story. Again, I think we could have a show.
Sorry, I'm done with my soapbox.
We could have a show. We could have our man Philip Crutchfield on with us too to talk about it. He would know, as formerly being at the East Side and has been involved with it. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. But with that, but anyway, we're talking North Florida football. So let's move along.
Columbia shuts out Hillsborough.
Yeah, Columbia. By the way, what we said,
20-0.
2 of the older schools in Florida. We talked about that this last week, and Columbia goes to 2-1. They'll host Madison County this week as the Tigers shut the Terriers 20-0.
And these 2 schools have never actually played each other, despite being part of the founding batch of schools of the Florida High School Athletic Association in 1920.
That's what I'm saying. They've been around, but Columbia gets the win in Lake City, and again, 1920. Wow. 20-0 over the Terriers. But Columbia's got a big one. Madison County, that'll be in our picks coming up, pick 6 as well. Meanwhile, we were talking about Gainesville High, 3-0. For the first time since 2012. And by the way, they played for the state title that year. Not saying they're going to do it this year, but Gainesville in 2012 played Miami Central for the state title. They went, in fact, that year they went 13-14-0 until the state championship game. But yeah, they are off to a 3-0 start. Now, obviously, they haven't really played. So far, they've played Braden River, and they've played 2 winless teams in Leon and Santa Fe.
But you got to give those guys credit because they've already not only they have doubled their win total, they have tripled their win total
for the last 2 years. They won 1 game the last 2 years. So Ian Scott doing a nice job. They got LeCanto this week, their district opener, so a chance to go to 4-0. Of course, they got Buchholz in a few weeks. So that'll be good job by Ian Scott with that in his second year.
Are they back? Is the question. We'll see what happens against LeCanto here. But
and not only that, but we're going to find out.
They haven't hit the meat of their schedule just yet.
Yeah, when they play Buchholz and Vanguard and some of those teams, we'll find out. But right now, off to a nice start, 3-0. Meanwhile, in Ocala, Trinity Catholic, it has been a struggle for them. They get their first win of the season. But I didn't see who
they beat Forest.
Oh, they beat Forest. That's right. So,
and it's a reunion year for John Brantley III because he was a part of the state championship team there in '74 for Forest. And, but he went and beat his alma mater. So
the one they had in football, 74. So, but they needed that win to Trinity Catholic. They go to 1-2 after losing their first 2 games to Tampa Catholic and to Melbourne Central Catholic. Meanwhile, Palatka, boy, they had to work for this one.
37-34 on this one, Marty.
They go to 2-1. They lost to St. Augustine week 1. They outlast Providence. Our man Corey Davis, Palatka Daily News, saying that it was a struggle for Palatka, but they were able to get the win in that game against Providence. Meanwhile, we talked about the weather. The weather did. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Mandarin, they go to 3-0. We are in the Jacksonville area. Tremel Jones, the FSU commit, 4-star quarterback, was hurt the week before.
Alan definitely. We don't know what the timeline is like for him just yet.
No problem with Sandalwood, who, by the way, 0-3 has not scored a point the first 2 weeks. They didn't win last year either. But what's coming up this week for Mandarin? The Bradford Tornadoes.
Who moved to 3-0 this week by beating South Sumter, and of course, it's a big game this week.
Big win over South Sumter. Bradford hosts Mandarin on Friday night. Well, I'd like to go. I have a game the game I have is pretty big. Well, Bishop Kenny and Bowles.
I'll tell you this.
I'd like to see that game otherwise, but
I'd like to see this game otherwise myself. But I was planning to go see that game, but there's a saturation of media coverage, and there's some other good games in this area that deserve love the coverage too.
There's no other media coverage. You're the media coverage on. What are you talking about? I don't even know as anybody else, but
sure.
Yeah, but that's the game of the week in this area. Mandarin and Bradford. I would say Manatee, Buchholz, Bowles, Bishop Kenny. We got a lot of good ones.
Oakley Hawthorne. I mean, there's a bunch of good games around here. So you're a high school football fan. You got the pick of the crop here.
That's right. Finally, talking about the St. Johns County. This is mostly St. Johns County. Storms wrecked some big week 3 games, although there was a Jacksonville. Oh, by the way, Fletcher and Atlantic Coast played last night.
Fletcher won that game.
That was a game from Friday night in Duval County. But I was at Tecoy Creek last Friday night for Bishop Kenny and Tecoy Creek. Man, it was pouring in St. Johns County.
Beachside had their game not wiped out once, but twice, by the way.
What's that?
Beachside. They were going to play Thursday night, and they were going to try to play Friday night, and that didn't happen. And
they were supposed to play Menendez. They are going to play in October, but their 4 games were wiped out. Bowles and St. Augustine was the big one. They're not going to make that game up. They're not going to play. Beachside will play Ponte Vedra this week. That's a big one.
From Adam Taft there watching us on Facebook. Appreciate you watching us here. Of course,
Ponte Vedra was supposed to play Baker County. That was called off.
That was moved to, I want to say, the date of 10/6 of Thursday night.
October 6th. That's right. I think Beachside and Menendez are playing October 1st.
That's a Tuesday, I want to say.
And then the other game that I'm blanking on, the other game that was postponed. Nice and River Ridge. That game will not be played.
Ridge Community.
Ridge Community out of Davenport. That will not be played. And then St. Augustine Bowles will not be played, which is unfortunate for both teams because that's a big ball game. But
I'm surprised that game didn't get somewhere rescheduled like a Monday night or a Tuesday night because honestly, that's a huge game in terms of power rankings for both teams.
Yeah, but after an hour delay, Bishop Kenny and Tecoy Creek played. Our game played about 8:00, and the field was drained really well there. It's a pretty new school and field, so that was the only game that was played in St. Johns County last Friday night, but those games will be made up coming up. Mother Nature, you gonna tell me about Mother Nature?
Yeah, we need to talk about Barton-Trail. I didn't put it on the thing, but we should have. Barton-Trail did go to Ware County, 43-42 overtime. Holy smokes!
Yeah, what a game! And Waycross, they get a win in OT. Yeah, they were on the road. Creekside was on the road at Spruce Creek, so they played.
How about this? Arthur Lewis, the 4th for Barton-Trail, 15 carries, 224 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah,
and was obviously put up for the Whataburger Player of the Week for the Jaguars for week 3 because, I mean, holy cow,
And they get Creekside this week, who's winless. Creekside's 0-3 after losing.
Holy cow, I mean, what the heck?
I know, it's surprising.
And I have a proposal, Marty, for this next part that we're going to.
Okay.
Why don't we just skip the water break and go right on into this?
That's because we got picks to get to. I know it's funny. We've done so many blitz lines. We've actually blown past where our interview would normally be. But yeah, got a lot to talk about this week.
And people are just watching. I appreciate everybody watching here.
Yeah.
On Facebook, Twitter, and on X. Make sure you Twitter X, I should say, YouTube. Follow us on YouTube, especially hit that subscribe button at Florida HS Football and click that notification bell when we go live or put new content up. And then, of course, follow us again on all of our social media channels at Florida HS Football.
All right, time for our fan question of the week. We've got a few.
Well, we've been popping questions up here.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was asking about Bradford, or actually said Bradford.
Oh, Bradford could make a great run, but I think Bradford has a chance. It's just you got Coco sitting there, and you got Berkeley Prep sitting in the region, so it's going to be a fight.
That's the ways down the line, but yeah, you're right. That would be who they'd eventually have to deal with. But let's see how they deal with Mandarin. That's going to be that'll be a telltale sign. Mandarin's 6A, number one team in 6A. But we were talking about Beachside plays Ponte Vedra. That's in St. Johns County this week. Yeah, so there's a lot of games that will have to be made up in a few weeks, but that will be the game of the week probably in St. Johns this week. So yeah, there's the music. That means it's time for the pick six.
Oh, yes.
We had the week 4. And first, a look back at the results for week 3. Josh got a game this week on me. 4-1. I was 3-2. We had a couple.
We both lost the Ware County Bartram Trail game because we took Ware County and Bartram Trail.
In there, I guess, about picking against Bartram, but they had lost to Ponte Vedra the week before. Meanwhile, Josh, what was my second loss?
I'm trying to think here.
Well, Bowl St. Augustine was postponed. We had that on the. We had only 5 games this week.
You know what? I'll pull it up here in a moment here as we're going through it because I do have the stuff from last week still sitting here. So let me see if I got pull that up real quick here as we're getting ready to do these games here for this week here, Marty. But first, you can go over and talk about the results for the season here.
And then Josh, with that game, takes a game lead, 15-8, 652. I'm at 14-9, 609. Not bad. We're doing a little better than we were week 1 and 2. So starting to pick it up a bit here in the North Florida picks. We had 6-0 week, I think, in Central or Gulf.
It was a Central Florida.
Yeah.
We had 5-1 weeks there, and you lost the McClay game. That's the one. McClay and Mariana. That's the one. That's the other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, well, here we go. We got 6 good games this week to pick, and we will start. And we'll start in Alabama, actually.
We're going to go to Pensacola Catholic and Montgomery Catholic.
Battle of Catholic schools here. Both teams unbeaten. Pensacola Catholic 2-0. Had a bye week. Montgomery Catholic, Montgomery, Alabama 3-0 there. I think the 8th ranked team in Alabama. Interesting matchup between 2 really good Catholic school teams. It's just tough when Florida teams go on the road. I know it's not a long trip to Montgomery, Alabama, but this, to me, Montgomery Catholic, excuse me. Montgomery Catholic, one of the better teams. Sorry. All right, choked up here.
There, now get you some water, Marty.
In Alabama, we didn't have a water break. See, that's what happens.
I'll learn my lesson there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Montgomery Catholic.
You're going with Montgomery Catholic, and honestly, I am going to go the opposite route, and I'm going to go Pensacola Catholic, Marty, because I believe the Crusaders. Right. Pensacola Catholic, remember, they were just moments away from being in the state championship game in 2S last year, not Bradford. So, they're in Class 2A. They're sitting as well. They're going to probably win Region 1 most likely this year. So, Pensacola Catholic is a really, really good team. And honestly, that's why I'm going with the Crusaders. And there's the first difference here for us this week.
That's right. There we go. So, Josh takes Pensacola, I take Montgomery. All right.
All right.
We'll have another Crusader game coming up, by the way. Big one as well.
Madison County at Columbia. How about them? Both 2-1 here. And, of course, Till Dog 12 on YouTube says, Cowboys dominate Swanee once again. I know it was close at one point around halftime. I did see the score, and it looked very close. I think Swanee was up at one point. But, yes, Madison County did dominate that second half and pulled away. Yeah,
43-26. They have owned Swanee. And Madison County's owned Columbia, too. I mean, they beat them last year. I think it was 20-8. And Madison this year heading to Lake City. Columbia only lost so far to Coffee County, Georgia. Madison lost to Lincoln.
Yes.
I'm going to stick with Madison County. It's on the road in Lake City, but I think Madison right now is maybe a little better than Columbia. Not maybe. I think they are. They're going to win this game on the road.
Well, I know Columbia's 2-1. But Columbia's still dealing with some growing pains in terms of, this is Brian Allen's second season back there. He's had some players transfer out. He's had to deal with, dealing with building up the next level of talent there for the Tigers. And that's why I feel like Madison County is just in a much better position to win this game. And that's why I'm taking the Cowboys here, Marty.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. I think it's going to be a good ball game, though. It's going to be tough to win. It's always tough to win in Lake City, but we both take Madison. Here's another one. St. Augustine didn't play last week against Bowles. They will host Riverside, who, by the way, Riverside got blown out by Oakleaf week 1, but they have looked really good the last 2 weeks and coming back and winning. Last week blew out Orange Park. So, but this is going to be a little bit different opponent for the Riverside Generals. And with St. Augustine basically getting a bye week last week against Bowles, I'm going to take St. Augustine to win at Foots Rumley Stadium. Always sounds like an English name to me.
Well, in the words of the legendary sports broadcaster in Jacksonville, Dan Higgin, you don't mess with the Og, dog.
The Og, that's right. Dan, is he a legendary sportscaster now, Dan Hicken? I guess he's been around long
he's been around since my childhood. Come on.
Legend,
Come on.
Right.
I mean, my childhood, I watched it was Dan Hicken and Sam Kavaris.
Your childhood, all 20-some years ago.
Thanks a lot.
I know, right? I've got the Og as well.
I'll throw another name. That was probably more that you watch. Harmon Wages.
I did watch Harmon Wages. I watched Dan Hicken pretty much from the beginning. You're right. In Jacksonville. Watched Sam Kavaris almost from the beginning. I'm old, man. I tell you, almost his whole career in Jacksonville. But anyway,
we'll go George Whittling with the weather.
I watched George Whittling. I mean, Tom Wills, they are all there forever. But anyway, I digress. We're getting off the track here. But all right.
We got to have some fun here, though.
I know. Stuff. All right, coming up, game 4. Is this the game? I'm waiting for my game of the week where I'm going to be this week. And where is it? There it is. There it is. That's where I'll be Friday night. Bowles, Bishop Kenny. You're going to like this. Bowles 1-1. They let the game against St. Augustine was postponed. They lost to Rains week 1 to beat Trinity Christian. Bishop Kenny 3-0, but I know they've beaten 3 teams that aren't very good so far. Matanzas, who actually has won 2 in a row since, and they also have knocked off Episcopal. And Coy Creek was 2-1, but what are you going to play? He's waiting to play something here. I'm going to go Homer. Did you just bleep me out? You bleep.
Homer pick. What was that?
A Homer pick.
What was that, Marty? A Homer pick?
A Homer pick. Yes. You ever heard of that one? Yeah. I'm taking Bishop Kenny. And trust me.
Well, that's the voice of the Bishop Kenny Crusaders.
I mean, they beat Bowles. They beat Bowles 2 years ago for the district title. Last year, Bowles won twice pretty easily at Bowles. This is a BK. I think the Crusaders are pretty good. I mean, this is a good rivalry game, and I know if they're Bowles fans, I'll have to prep says Bowles will have it together. They might. But
we'll pull up that comment up here.
I'm gonna go with the Crusaders, and I pretty much think I know who Josh is gonna take. So go ahead.
Well,
the music ended.
Yeah, the band starts back.
Stop, Dan.
All right, here we go. Bowles.
Yeah, I know you're taking Bowles.
I'm taking Bowles.
I think if this game was at Bowles, I probably would take Bowles anyway. But
have yourself a nice night on the river.
I'm gonna have a little faith because if they win, I'll look like prophetic, and if they lose, I'll be like, well, at least I stuck up for the team that I work for. But anyway.
Okay, well,
that's 2 differences.
Well, and for the Bishop Kenny fans, you know where to write me at next week, right here on the show.
Yeah, that's fine. Bring it on. All right.
You can tell everybody just to come comment on the North Florida Blitz next Tuesday night.
That's right. All right, next game.
All right, here we go. This one.
Oh yeah, Manatee and Buolds. This again will be played at Santa Fe College. Santa Fe High School. I've been working at Santa Fe College too long here in Gainesville. I tell you what, this is Manatee coming in with a loss to Lowndes. They're good, but this is going to be probably outside of Vanguard, the biggest test so far for Buolds. But I like Buolds to win this game. I think they'll go to 4-0.
Well, I am with you. I'm on the Buolds train here and 4-0. They would go 4-0, but if Manatee wins, it'll be a great win for them because it will help them in their playoff power ranking.
Yeah, it really will. So.
And by the way, I want to mention something. Jonathan Harris dropped a comment. It says, in your opinion, what is the best game this week? And actually, in this situation, I'm starting to try to get the games lined up as from the best being the last game that we pick on. And that's where we're going to hit his here.
I agree with this. This is the game of that's the game of the week. I think that is the best game. 3-0 Mandarin, 3-0 Bradford, 2 highly state-ranked teams. Mandarin ranked number 1 in 6A in our Florida HS football media poll. Without their quarterback, Tramel Jones, I mean, he's out. But
let's set the table here for this game, Marty.
Fun game to start. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you said you mentioned that there with Tramel Jones here, and that is the key piece here to this game. We will know what this Mandarin team honestly is like without Tramel Jones. We will know what it's like because if they win this game, that means saying, hey, they can do it with anybody.
Right.
But if they lose this game, there will be some questions. Okay, what is Tramel Jones, that piece that you got to have carry this team? Right now, they're starting a freshman quarterback. They started a freshman quarterback last week. The freshman quarterback stepped in when Tramel went down in week 2.
Yeah,
and Gene McKenzie, I knew you were finally watching the show here tonight.
Bradford.
He's taking Bradford, but I know we are the underdog, but we will pull it out at home. So
Gene, you know what? And Gene, that's a fair assessment.
Our good friend Gene McKenzie.
And Bradford is really good at home, and I'm not taking anything away from Bradford, but Mandarin's loaded even without their quarterback. I'm gonna go with Mandarin. I'm sorry, this to me is a Mandarin's just a little bit stronger. We'll see. I mean, Alachua Prep didn't agree with it. I also takes Bradford, so apparently. We got who also took Manatee. He doesn't agree with me on a lot of things there, but that's okay. I'm going with the Mustangs.
It's tough to win at Bradford. It's tough to win at David Hurst Stadium. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is why this pick pains me to make this pick.
Are you?
Yes, this pick pains me because I know it's a tough place to play at Bradford. I know Jamie Rogers is a really doggone good coach.
Yeah, I don't. Of course, you got to take somebody here.
But this is where I struggle. And yes, my fiance. Yes, I am engaged now, people. But she takes Bradford for the win, I have to.
And she's smarter than you, so that's going to be a problem. She's probably right.
It's house divided like it is house divided on a few other things. So there you go.
See, we're going against the fans on this one. I am at least, but.
It's a Mandarin. I have to take Mandarin here just because it's a slice. You're
really pained about this decision. I can tell.
It was pain. I was pained. I was pained to take this decision because this is really a toss-up game. You could flip a quarter and it's a 50-50 decision because this is really that kind of game.
Right. No, I think you're right. So you're taking Mandarin. All right, we figured that out. Okay.
I mean, but you know what? If Bradford wins, is a great game for them to win because, I mean, your next biggest game that you got coming up here on the 11th of October is against Newberry at Newberry, and that's going to be huge. That's for the district title there in 2A5.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments on this.
There we go.
Pretty good. I appreciate it too. A lot of good. I probably can't get to all of these, but let's pull up Gene McKenzie's comment there as
thank you very much. Thank you.
No, not that one.
Oh, well, not that one.
No, not about that. Yeah, this as a fan. Well, it says as an analyst, I respect Charles Cause. You're right, and you're right, Gene. That's exactly what it is. Because I'm taking Bishop Kenny because I'm a fan almost. I mean, I actually broadcast the games, but you're right, and I won't be surprised at all if Bradford. Bradford wins that game. So.
Yeah, I mean, if Bradford wins, it really, it will go down as a great win, and I will take that loss respectfully. I mean,
yeah. Well, you have to, yeah. And by the way, put that up there. I don't know what that means, but I think it's funny. No.
Which one?
I'm Mark Cannon here. Sorry, I don't know what this means. Oh, that means Ronnie Josh is greater than. Okay, I didn't read it that way. I was kind of wondering what
greater than
Kamala and Don.
Oh, geez. Hey, we're getting more.
Our debate is underway as we speak. So,
but thank you everybody on the comment
stuff there this week.
Lots of prep says Newberry isn't that good. I mean,
well, Newberry was without their best player last week. They were the wide receiver they lost in the Hawthorne game. They got shut up by Vanguard. So I don't know. They nearly beat Hawthorne. We'll see. But yeah, they're struggling a bit. But hey, that's why they play the games. So we'll find out. But hey, this is going to be a fun week. It's a lot of big games this week. And boy, that Mandarin Bradford game really Bartram trying to play the game there, kind of disappointing loss. Yeah, the Georgia Powerhouse. That was a good win for Bartram. Going up to Waycross and winning that game. So congratulations to them. All right, that's the music. Time to go. We have we've definitely used a lot of time here. That's okay. We've had fun. It was a good
appreciate everybody. Thank you for the comments, especially on the engagement. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations to Josh on his engagement.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. All right.
And
say good night, Marty.
No engagement here. Maybe one day. We'll see. But anyway, that's going to do it for Joshua Wilson. I am Marty Pallman. He's Josh. I'm Marty. That's by the way. And you've been watching the North Florida Blitz. Talk to you next Tuesday, 8:30, right here. Good night.